Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. How are we doing tonight, guys? Jordan, Adam, how are we?
Doing great.
Doing
Great.
great. Just,
Yeah.
just
Great.
living the dream, right?
Yep.
You bet.
To our people on YouTube, it is good to see you. It is good to hear from you. If you are watching this later, we are live. It is Thursday, 8 p.m., and you could be a part of the chat right now. We're typically live right around this time, so keep an eye out on our Facebook page at the Next Step Fantasy Football Podcast.
8 p.m. Central.
8 p.m. Central.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we span multiple time zones here on the pod, so
We do.
We're kind of a big
gotta specify.
We got to reach California land yet, though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. We don't really have much going on in the form of California, do we?
Nothing in the Pacific Northwest, man.
In fairness, it is that's not true. One of our Patreon members is in Washington State.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
All right. Sent out all the messages to our Patreon members. If you want to be a Patreon member, we have a promo going on right now on our Facebook page. $5 gets you your first 4 months of our weekly rankings for free. And you also will get a personal number that you can text us all sorts of fantasy questions, which a lot of start-sits are going to happen. Chad Booth, good to see you. Nice to see you. I'm glad you are here. Boys, are you ready to get into this?
I am. I was born ready, Jay.
Were you ready?
Yeah.
Were you born ready? I don't believe you.
All right.
I'm ready.
All right, that's enough. All right, let's do this. Welcome back to Next Step Fantasy Football Podcast, where we're here to help you take the next step in your fantasy journey. My name is Jake, and I am joined once again by my friend Jordan. Jordan, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Ready to roll.
You were born ready.
Yeah. All right. I love these rankings.
Oh yeah,
This is so fun. Yeah.
because you know what it means. It means that
Football's almost
footballs
here.
are here. There's a game going on right now, a preseason game. We are also joined by the coach, whose season starts tomorrow. Adam, how are you? What do the boys look like today? Are they ready?
They're ready to rock. Yeah, our seniors are ready. They're pushing the younger guys. The younger guys are getting better every day. Had a great week of practice, intense, and just the adrenaline's already pumping. I don't know how much I'm going to sleep tonight. So
Awesome. We are live on YouTube right now, youtube.com/Next Step Fantasy Football Podcast. If you want to be part of the chat, you can be part of it. Just being part of it's fun. Hanging out. If you're listening later on, we appreciate you listening on too. So, we are doing our running back rankings, and we'll be unveiling those here in a sec. But first, do you guys want to play the game, or do you want to do the news first?
Let's play the game, Jake.
play the game.
Well, it's not news, or it's not. I guess it is a game, right?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna play 1 or 0. The way this works is I am your host. I will be telling the boys a recent news article and then asking them a question. They are gonna answer 1 for yes, 0 for no. There is no gray area. Boys, you ready?
Ready.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. I talked too quick and I didn't have it up on my phone. All right, here we go. To continue if you didn't listen last week, we mentioned that there was a soccer player considering joining Saudi Arabia for a whole bunch of money. Well, Neymar has a new deal with a Saudi club that gives him a private plane, a mansion that is fully staffed, $87,000 for each win, and $500,000 for every post where he promotes Saudi Arabia.
Wow.
Yes. 1 or 0, you would promote Saudi Arabia for $500,000 a post.
Yep. Totally would. One.
I wish I could say 0.
I
I wish
What
that
is your
I
soul
was
worth,
strong
guys?
enough. I wish I was per post. If it was just like a one-off, like, hey, Jordan, one post, $500,000, and you got to promote Saudi Arabia, I would really hesitate.
I would
But
still
if I was
do
just
it.
Like, if it was like infinite money, like just post as much as you can, and every time.
I'd be
Hard
posting
to say
every
that.
day.
Yeah.
You're telling me 2 posts, I'd be a millionaire.
Correct.
Correct.
Like, come on.
You'd be like, this place is great. Picture. Yeah.
Great golf course.
Of course.
Okay, now great golf course. Put yourself in his shoes, though, as someone who's already made this just godly amounts of money. He's looking up his net worth. Adam, if you were already a bajillionaire, do you think morally you would do it?
Now we're getting into
Yeah.
thin ice here because an easy answer is no. I wouldn't do it because morally I can't. But also thinking about my family, thinking about great retirement.
Oh, here we go.
Here, you already have $250 million in debt.
Give me
What's
more.
$500,000?
I'm
Give
just
me
saying,
more, man.
all it would take was 500 posts and you double your net income.
Okay, yeah.
$500,000. That'd be my spending money for a weekend in Cabo or something.
All right.
All right.
So once again,
We would
on
sell
the
our
Next
soul.
Phase Football Podcast, we would sell our soul. Now, instead of $750 million, which was last week, we do it for $500,000 this
We're
week.
gonna get flagged here for
Yeah.
being a Saudi enthusiast.
Next week we're gonna be like, I'd do it for a Subway gift card.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. This past week, Dalvin Cook signed with the New York Jets, which is something we'll talk about here in a sec. Simply 1 or 0. Dalvin Cook signed with the Jets because Aaron Rodgers is there.
One.
And this is an easy one, right?
Yeah.
One, yeah.
You think he's signing there if Zach Wilson's still the
That's
quarterback?
my question.
No.
Yeah, no way. I think it's everything. If you've watched Hard Knocks yet, and I haven't, but everything I've heard, Aaron Rodgers is a good dude. He's resetting his brand. He's a fantastic mentor. He loves the young guys. He's doing all the right things, and that's a big reason why Cook signed.
Yeah. Jordan?
Not to mention he gets to play his brother twice a year now.
Which I think matters. I know it's a tiny thing, but it probably does matter.
Yeah.
That's fun. I don't know.
Yeah, he
That's
definitely
fun
signs because of Aaron
rivalry.
Rodgers. All right, last one, guys. This week, former offensive lineman Michael Orr was in the news. He claimed he was, if you guys recall, what movie was he in?
The Blind Side.
The Blind Side was about his life, and he claimed that he was never adopted by the family played by Sandra Bullock. A lot of the stuff in the movie never happened, and that he never got any money from The Blind Side because they were his conservatives. 1 or 0, that movie was always too good to be true.
1. Yeah, and here's the deal though too. Why is this coming out now? That's
has a
my
book.
big question.
He has a book coming out.
He does. And there's always the devil's in the details, right? Like, why is he doing it now? Maybe he has money problems himself, and now he's like, oh, how can I fix this? Well, they didn't give me enough. And then why invite them to the draft? They were at the draft when he got drafted. Like, why do the charade if it was such a mess? You know what I mean?
Gonna be interesting.
It is.
That's all Jordan's got.
Netflix will make a documentary about this.
Yeah, sure will.
Speaking of which, has anyone watched the Johnny Manziel documentary yet?
Yes.
This guy is awesome.
It is
just
unbelievable.
I mean, there was some serious stuff in it, right?
Yeah.
Mental health, that sort of stuff. But I just love the part. There's a part in there where they're like, yeah, so it's like a former coach or whatever, and they were like, hey, we were looking at his iPad and it shows that he's watched 0 minutes. And the guy was like, there's no way. 0.
His agent.
His agent. And he's like, no, really, 0 minutes. And then it pans to Johnny Manziel and he just puts up the number 0. He's like, not a minute.
0.
Like,
Yeah, his agent might be my favorite part of that whole thing because he's just, you can tell he's like, I was just flying by the seat of my pants.
Yeah.
I had to get him. He was hungover, get him to the workouts, and then he did a private workout, and he's like, I was a receiver in that workout because he partied with the receivers that were going to be in the workout, and me and this other guy, I'm like, we're playing high school ball here. What are we doing?
One of the best college football players, though. Man.
Oh, yeah.
Love
I mean,
watching
he
him.
was electric, yes.
All right, Jordan, why don't you take us to the news then?
Jordan with the news.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Adam.
As always, Adam, thank you. So, Jake already mentioned we got 2 big signings since we last checked in with you. Dalvin Cook signs with the Jets, a deal that could be worth up to $8.6 million, which is, in my opinion, a great signing. Like, running backs have been complaining about not getting paid enough, and he just, 8.6 for a 1-year deal. That's pretty good.
Sure is.
Some of the best running backs right now are getting like $10 million deals, right? Like that's what Saquon just signed.
We can talk more about that when we talk about our rankings here.
Yep, we'll definitely get into that. A couple other things though. Dalvin Cook could be suspended due to a 2021 domestic violence case that could be in the final stages of getting resolved. So Robert Saleh said, I have no comment about that. But
oh, you don't?
it's something to pay attention to. And they think, we kind of talked about this, right? The NFL doesn't levy any sort of suspension or punishment until after like the actual like case is decided, right? So they're thinking like, oh, that could be happening soon. Something to keep an eye on. Robert Saleh also said he's very confident Breece Hall will be back and ready to go week 1. So also something to pay attention to around those. But we'll get to that when we get to our rankings in a little more detail, because we will definitely talk about Breece Hall and what this means for him. Other running back that signed, Ezekiel Elliott signs with the Patriots, a deal worth up to $6 million with all the incentives. So discount there compared to Dalvin Cook, which I think we can all agree Dalvin Cook's the better back.
Yes, for sure.
We'll talk about this and what it means for Ramondre Stevenson in a lot more detail as we get to rankings, but definitely has an impact there too.
Yep.
Staying on my running back train here, Jonathan Taylor on the 16th, so yesterday, Wednesday the 16th, is excused again from team practice. He is not with the team, no timetable for return with a personal matter. So if you remember, we have a lot of issues with like contracts and Jonathan Taylor wanting one, and the owner making just a lot of weird comments about like not needing him, or if we were all dead tomorrow. What was very bizarre stuff. So definitely something to keep an eye on. We'll touch it more in our running back rankings. Lots of good running back stuff
We're just going to let you go here. Yeah, keep going.
All right. A couple other fun things in this one, in your face, Jake.
Okay.
Kyle Shanahan says Brock Purdy would, quote, would have to melt in practice to lose the starting job, end quote.
What a weird quote.
To be QB1. Very weird, but it's Brock Purdy's show. Trey Lance had a weird preseason start. Super bizarre.
What's so weird is Kyle Shanahan can make any quarterback look really good, except the one guy they traded all their stuff up to get.
Yeah.
I would argue it's paid off, though. I mean, if they ditched him now, I mean, they're still set to be a contender this year. So,
do you think that Brock Purdy is in a position where he can take them to the Super Bowl? And the reason I said that, the reason I say that though is that, like, I'm not willing to say that, and I say that only because like he's only played 7 games. I think that's 6 if you don't count the NFC Championship, which isn't a big sample size at all. I think people forget.
But he almost did it as an almost undrafted rookie.
No, I
as
understand.
Mr. Irrelevant.
I understand.
Yeah, and again, in that offense, you don't need a Trey Lance who's going to try and make stuff happen because it's not predicated for that. It's just drop back, timing throws, and Sam Darnold, again, reports say he looks head and above, shoulders above, way, way up higher than Trey Lance.
Yeah. I think we could see Trey Lance being inactive for pretty much all weeks.
Agreed. Yeah.
I would trade him for a 5th round and just get something.
Just be done with it.
Done with it. Wash your hands clean and
done with the
on.
drama. Done with the
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's that one there, Jake. Anthony Richardson officially named Colts Week 1 starter. Exciting stuff. I love that. That's the right choice. Yep. I see Jake shaking.
I shake my head.
Minshew Mania, yeah. Give me
I'm
the
all
bad
about
quarterback.
Okay,
yeah.
He's not a bad quarterback. That's fine though. Whatever. Go ahead.
Khalil Herbert played all first-team reps in the preseason game for the Bears, but then in practice,
love Khalil Herbert.
In practice, the rookie running back Rashawn Johnson is getting all the work with the first team. So it's just a very weird situation there. But I think Jake, you and I are both pretty high.
So Rashawn Johnson got first team work in one practice. It's like, that's fine. You want to see what you guys got? I think he will have a role, but Khalil Herbert's being drafted as running back 34 right now.
That's great value. Great value.
I mean, we've seen him last year when David Montgomery had went down. I mean, he was running back 1. So if you can get a running back 2 numbers out of him, week in and week out with some running back 1 weeks, I mean, it's stupid good value.
Yeah.
Speaking of running backs, because we love him so much, Ken Walker back in practice.
I have to book it. I love Khalil Herbert so much. He's a top 20 back this year.
Wow,
Jake.
Book it, barring injury. Granted, he won't be on our list here.
Because
But
he's not in my top 20.
I love him, especially after last giving him all the first team reps. So,
Khalil Herbert, top 20.
yeah, I like that. That's a bold one. I feel good about that one. I could be wrong here, but you got to make some bold buckets. Talk about Ken Walker.
Bold book it. Yep. Ken Walker's just back in full practice, so one we were keeping an eye on. Love that. Be ready to go for the season. That sounds great. Joe Mixon found not guilty of the charges that were weighed against him, so no suspension expected around that. So Joe Mixon reworked his deal. He's staying with the Bengals, and he's getting drafted as what does he get drafed as, Jake?
Running back 13, 18? 15, somewhere in there.
15.
And he's finished in the top 10 each of the last 5 years. So there's no reason he shouldn't be being drafted in the top 10. So.
Treylon Burks probably going to miss the rest of the preseason and maybe a little bit of the start of the season with the LCL sprain. So something to keep an eye on there with those Tennessee wide receivers, DeAndre Hopkins. Jordan Addison is in concussion protocol. We'll see how serious that is. Don't expect that to be any issue. Miles Sanders gonna miss the whole preseason with the groin injury.
Just when I start talking good about him, just when I do this, I still think he's good value. I do. Especially if he just is missing the preseason, right? If you're just missing the preseason, okay. But if this is going to be a lingering issue, you bet your bottom dollar I will regress back to my not loving of Miles Sanders.
All right. Groins are tough, man.
Yeah. They linger.
Cordell Patterson likely to miss a couple of weeks, so pretty much the rest of the preseason with soft tissue injury. The only reason I mention it is because soft tissue injuries, when he's in his 30s, he's in mid-30s.
He could get cut.
Back, he's a cut candidate because they have Tyler Algiers and Bijan Robinson. I think that it's no longer becoming this three-back situation if Cordell Patterson misses any sort of time. Javonte Williams, Adam, he's back, and my original update was he's going to play in the preseason, and I think as we speak, he's getting some carries in.
He's going to get 10 to 15 is what I heard today.
Yeah, so that would be awesome. And that means he's back. So love that.
Love it.
Just a couple of rapid fire ones. J.K. Dobbins activated off the PUP list. Love that he's back. Zach Ertz, tight end, after tearing his ACL and MCL, is going to be back week 1. So tight end value potentially, maybe not. And then Cam Akers kicked out of practice, throwing punches with Max Crosby. So I just like to say that.
Max Crosby was like, yeah, he started talking and he got what he got.
Yeah.
He was just so matter-of-fact about it.
I tell you, I love these joint practices between teams. They
always
always
end
up in fights.
Yeah.
They just always end up fighting. So anyway, lots and lots of news there, but I rapid fire through that and some good stuff. Adam.
I do got one thing, and it's kind of sad news. Alex Collins, who was in the league for a little while, passed away. I don't know how. And
motorcycle accident.
But yeah, I mean, he's 28 years old. He passes away before his time, and good dude. Everyone that came out and just said he was a humble, very funny, laid back guy, and just sad. So
yeah, we don't need to. There are some details out there now. I don't think we really need to get into it. But motorcycle accident, just the worst. And he was one of those fantasy guys that you take him late, but you could plug him in as a running back too if need be.
Yep.
Never was flashy, but he got the job done. It was one of those things where he'd have a good 8 weeks, and then all of a sudden the Seahawks cut him, and then he's on the Ravens, and all of a sudden he was good there.
Yeah.
And then they cut him, and he ended up, he's a good football player. That's who he is. Good football player.
Yeah. All right.
Sad to see, but good to share.
Yeah.
All right.
Jordan, are you done?
Yeah, that's the news.
Thank God, you talk too much. All right.
Oh my gosh, there's a lot of news. What more do you want? All right, I get a whole segment.
You should see how much he cut from that.
There's a lot of news, man.
That's true. All right, let's get into these running back rankings. The graphic department here at the Next Step Fantasy Football Podcast has really stepped him up. Jordan, thanks for heading those people.
Thank you. Yeah. It's hard to keep them in line, but we do our best.
Yeah. You could watch it right now. We're live on YouTube, youtube.com/Next Step Fantasy Football. Otherwise, you can watch it later there, or if you're listening on wherever you're listening on the podcast sites, it will be posted on our Instagram, and next_step_pod, and posted on our Facebook page at the Next Step Fantasy Football Podcast. All right, boys, enough of the business talk. Let's get into it. Jordan, you did a great job hosting last week. Thank you for doing that.
Take it back. I don't want it.
Yeah, you did a good job.
Oh my god.
I guess you.
Yeah, how's your boo boo? Your little tooth issue, or
my roots canal. It hurt. It was not fun. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
feeling good now. Feeling good. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go 1 through 20. Remind me, Jordan, did we start with 1 or did we go to 20?
We started with 1.
All right, we're gonna start with 1. The way these rankings are made is Jordan, Adam, and I each rank 20, and then we kind of average them out, do math stuff, and then we get our compiled rankings. So, starting off, let's go with the top one, the number one guy in everybody's rankings. Adam, I'll let you talk 1 minute about him. Christian McCaffrey, easy number 1, right?
Oh yeah, consensus. I mean, just obviously all three of us view him as the best back in the league right now. Being in that offense where Kyle Shanahan, the zone run scheme that his dad created, he's keeping it going, and Christian McCaffrey just everywhere on the field. You know, can use him in the pass game. He played quarterback when Purdy got hurt and Johnson got hurt, and then so, you know, he's just electric. I got nothing much else to say. You can take him, best back in the league.
All right, so how Jordan, how high are you going to take him? I guess that's the question, right? So consensus. Typical fantasy football always was like take the running back, right? So he should go 1-1, right, Jordan?
Yeah, not this year.
No.
I'm taking Justin Jefferson. I'm taking Jamar Chase. And then you could convince me to take someone else, like another receiver, before I'm taking Christian McCaffrey at pick 3 or 4.
Yeah, I think for me it's just Justin Jefferson. I think that's the only one I would go over.
Okay.
I'm still taking C-Mac.
First?
Yep.
I think see, look at that. There's 3 different ideas, right? Which I think means that's why picking at the 1-2 or the 1-3 is good this year, because you never know how that's going to start out, right? You might get Christian McCaffrey at the 3rd pick. We've seen him go for 1,000 rushing yards, 1,000 receiving yards. There's no reason he can't do that again in this offense.
Yep. Yeah, the only thing to call out is like he really took off because like Eli Mitchell got hurt last year.
Yeah.
But when Eli Mitchell was playing, he got Eli Mitchell had a role and has a role. So
yeah, Mitchell was good for like 2 or 3 series in the game.
Yeah. Versus this guy we're going to talk about next, who pretty much is just like no one.
Why don't you? Why don't you, Jordan?
Yeah, Austin Eckler, number 2, and we all had him as number 2.
Mm-hmm.
And we all had him as number 2. I'm not saying he should be above Christian McCaffrey, but the only reason I like Austin Eckler kind of up there in that discussion is because there's just nobody else competing for backfield touches. Like Austin Eckler is the guy. He didn't even have 1,000 yards rushing last year, but he had almost 1,000 yards receiving. And he's basically a wide receiver who rushes the ball 2 downs. He's just always touching the ball, and that's what I love so much about Eckler.
I think they're the same back. The only difference is Christian McCaffrey does it a little better, but he has more of an injury risk, right?
Yep.
So you can get Eckler, and you're going to get the same sort of production, maybe just one peg down, but he's more likely than not to be there more consistently. So for me, it's still McCaffrey because I like the upside there, but no problem. I like Eckler a lot.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the one big thing, he's disgruntled, right? So how does that impact his play? I mean, I don't know, but still really good.
I think that's over with, I would say, for this year. At least that would be my prediction. Because you rarely see players who are disgruntled, but once they hit the field, they're good to go. You know, because if you're not running out around there with 100%, you're bound to get yourself hurt. So, and apparently he is the leader of all running backs now. Setting up Zoom meetings.
Zooms, yeah.
He's like their union leader.
I was gonna say cult leader, but yeah, union sounds better.
So let's move on to number 3, which I think we all had as well.
Correct. Yeah, this is the 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
we were all in.
It was Saquon Barkley. He got his contract that he held out for, even though it was pretty much the exact same thing they offered him initially. But he got like $100 more. But
Yep.
it's the same thing. It's a decent offense. It runs through him, right?
Yeah.
Offers, especially in PPR, like these three are pass catching backs. PPR leagues, I think in a full point PPR, I mean, these guys should go in the top 5, top 6. These three.
Yep.
I mean, Adam, what do you think? What do you got to say about Saquon?
Yeah, I mean, just if he's out there, Daniel Jones looks so much better.
Yeah.
And he plays so much better. The numbers don't lie with him. When Barkley was off the field, I think I saw his QBR went down, like took a 20-point hit or something like that crazy. So again, that whole offense, if Barkley's out, it's over. It's end game. So again, he's as long as he's there, pick him. He's awesome.
Yeah.
Love it.
We don't have much to say because these are first round backs, so like take them.
Yep.
Don't feel weird about it. They all have their like one thing, right? They all have the one thing that's like with their arrow pointing down, but for their one thing they have down, they have 12 things pointing up. So take these 3, feel good about it. So why don't we talk about number 4, where I think is where we start to maybe disagree a little.
Strongly, yes.
Okay, let's talk about it. So number 4, we have Jonathan Taylor. So we talked about him in the news. Jordan, why don't you first talk about where you had him in comparison to where he ended up?
First of all, some of this is personal, okay? Because he betrayed me.
Okay, don't do this. We're talking about the people. They don't care about your personal issues.
Okay, well, I'm painting some context here, okay? Last year, everyone's like, there's no doubt you take him number 1 overall. That is great. I don't know if I'd be surprised if anyone who drafted number 1 overall last year won any league.
Joey,
it just ruined you.
Our boy Joey took CMC and won.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, yeah, because he was smarter than the rest of us, right? Also, it's new offense, new quarterback. There's a lot of new things about it, and he's disgruntled. He's away from the team. He's not practicing with the team. He's not around. It's hard for me to look at that and be like, he's a guy. Lock him in first round.
Yeah, I want that
Let's
guy.
Go. Yeah. So the talent is obviously there, and he showed that he can. He's just an absolute machine if he's playing in a good offense and he's healthy and all that stuff. I just don't. He's still top 10, but I had him much lower.
Do you remember where you had him?
Yeah, at 7.
Okay, so you had him pretty far down there. What do you think, Adam?
Yeah, I mean, I just with say it again. I'm sorry.
Well, I just mean like you're fine. I just meant, what do you think of the whole Jonathan Taylor? Like, do you guys think he plays week 1?
No, not right now. I think he's so disgruntled and angry, and it's the personal matter. He can say it's like a family issue or something. We know it's about the contract. We know it's about him not getting his money. So I think it's just we got to watch it, but I don't think he plays week 1, maybe not even week 2.
I think this is the biggest thing that we need to watch going forward in the next few weeks. I would say as of now, I would expect him to play. I think because he came back, I think that was the bigger step. He came back, and I don't know. I don't think it's fair to assume that it's not a personal matter. Because, I mean,
Right.
even the coach said it didn't have to do with his contract.
No.
So if his personal matter is a personal matter, then maybe it was just bad timing.
It's definitely suspicious.
It is definitely suspicious, though. I get that. I would assume he plays unless hurt otherwise, because he should be back here. But if we're at this episode next week, right? We're at our wide receiver rankings, and Jonathan Taylor has yet to return to the team. I think then we should start to panic.
Yes.
Right? Then we can start looking at who might be playing week 1. I will say though, with the running back situation, I mean, you don't need to practice that much in order to be effective in one week. I think it's certainly possible that we could get a situation where week 1 he plays, he gets 12 touches, right? He just doesn't maybe that's more of a committee for 1 week, right? But all you need is a touchdown. So I like him at 4. I can see, and just because of the upside for me, right? Once he's back and figured out, there's no reason this offense is going to be better with Anthony Richardson. I think that he could easily he could still have a fantastic year even with all this crap that's going on.
Yes. Yep.
I will
It could
say
be good value too, because you could get him at the end of
Yeah.
the second round.
So-
And, like, that's good value.
yes,
So
I mean
I
so
see it.
this is not how we think that your draft is going to go. It's where what we think is the best value, right? Because
Yep.
as of now, I guarantee you number 5, Nick Chubb is going ahead of him.
Yes.
Because he is
Yep.
Mr. Consistent. He is everything the opposite of what we just said about Jonathan Taylor.
Yes. Yep.
The only
Again,
difference. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I had him higher than JT. I think Nick Chubb is electric, and every dang year he just proves it. Every year in the passing game, the running game, he's the heart and soul of that Browns offense. Unless Deshaun Watson has a renaissance year here,
Yeah. He's just Mr. He's not going to finish as running back 1. I just don't think that's going to happen.
He might.
I don't see it personally.
Right.
But he will finish as running back 8 or 5,
Mm-hmm.
or somewhere in there. And I think that's why I have Jonathan Taylor a little higher, is because he could finish as running back 1 again. This certainly could happen again. And I prefer the upside. But if I'm drafting today, August 17th, I would probably lean towards Chubb because of the you know what you're getting, right? You don't know what's about to happen to Jonathan Taylor. So, Jordan, what do you think?
Yeah, Nick Chubb, top 10 running back the last 3 years. Maybe even more. I just don't have that data in front of me. And I just love that. Yeah. And no Kareem Hunt. Hopefully he catches some more balls. Love that.
I would hope so. Great. So, top 5, we got CMC, Eckler, Barkley, Taylor, Chubb. I think the big one there is we're going off what we think will happen by the end of the season. And if you want to put a bunch of these guys ahead of us, or that we're about to talk about ahead of Jonathan Taylor because of what's going on right today, no problem. But I think it's worth just saying that we're 3 weeks out from drafting, or from the season. So, so if this gets taken care of in the next 3 days, and he's like, I'm back, I'm unhappy about my contract, but I'm playing, then I think Jonathan Taylor deserves to be in the top 5.
Yes.
Yeah, we can say the same thing about Josh Jacobs too, right? Like,
Yep.
There's some of these guys that we're pushing down. At least I'm pushing down the board because of some of this offseason stuff. But
Correct.
And we're going to talk about Josh Jacobs here coming up. Number 6. So why don't we get to 6? He is Derrick Henry, King Henry. We still got another year out of him, Adam?
Yes. I would bet everything I have that we have one more good year from Derrick Henry,
If not more.
if not more. I mean, he's just a stud. I'm going to book it. He finishes top 5. I'm going to book that. I think he is going to be a top 5 back. And again, he's just elite until he proves everyone otherwise. I just think, that whole thing, running backs can't play past 30, all that stuff. Well, he's a freak. He's a super freak. All right. So I'm gonna say top 5.
I hope to see him catch a few more balls as well this year.
Yep.
No reason that can't happen. It's not like their backup situation is incredible, right?
Right.
They have a rookie whose name is escaping me right at this moment, but he is the perfect. Oh, you're on the 1 yard line? Well, you know who's getting the ball.
Yep.
There's nothing more frustrating in fantasy football when they're inside the 5 and you don't know what's going to happen, which is the majority
that's why
of
it's
the NFL.
hard to have a Chiefs. That's why it's hard to have a Chiefs running back.
Right.
But inside the 5, you know Derrick Henry's getting the ball. So I had him somewhere around the 6th, 7th range. So, I mean, I like him at 6 here. What do you think, Jordan?
Yeah, love it. Yep, he's the right one. To me, now, like 1 through 6, it's put him in whatever order that you want. But then we kind of enter this next territory here, which to me is the next tier. But Derrick Henry still is the tier up.
So,
I mean, every time he touches the ball, every time he plays. So until Father Time catches up, which could be this year, it could, but also I wouldn't bet on it.
No, I'm not betting on that either.
Yeah.
Number 7, we just talked about Father Time. Let's talk about the youngest of them all, Bijan Robinson. Adam, tell the people what your thoughts are here at the 7th overall, or 7th ranked running back, Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, I had him outside the top 10 just because Here's the deal. I mean, he's a rookie. I get he's like a transcendent talent. I get that he's a phenom. Everything that's coming out of camp, he looks great, and he's going to be a stud. He's a rookie on a bad team. Okay. So again, the whole offense is going to probably ride around him. And until I see week 1, week 2, week 3, I still have my little bit of doubts. I think he can be a top 10 back, no problem, but got to see it.
Jordan?
I like him. I'm kind of buying into the hype. I think. I agree with you, Adam. The rookie piece to it is the hard part to stomach, but top 10 upside is totally in play. And we talked about Cordell Patterson probably not being there, or being potentially a little bit injured. So I'm into that. I think 7 is the right home for him.
I would agree. I mean, the Falcons last year had 4 running backs that were relevant at times throughout the year. Cordell Patterson, Caleb Huntley was relevant for a little bit there. Tyler Algier, so if you, or 3, I should say so, but they're going to run. And I think that Tyler Algier will have a role. I think Bijan is going to finish in the top 7 for sure. I mean, think about these last high-profile running backs. Saquon, he was drafted in the first round his rookie year and performed just fine. Jonathan Taylor, rookie year drafted relatively high, performed just fine. Typically, running backs who are taken this high then produce their first year in fantasy football. So, I mean, it sounds more of like a personal choice, Adam, just because you'd rather have guys who have shown it before. But I think the upside is massive. I think next year we could be talking about him being in the top 3, top 5, somewhere in there.
Yep.
Okay, great.
Love it.
Hey guys, you know who we should talk about next?
Oh boy.
Tony Pollard. I had him ranked 4th on my list. He was a top 5. I've mentioned how good I think he's going to be in past episodes. If you haven't heard that, go check him out.
He's a sleeper.
Stop it.
I
acknowledge that I may have spoken wrong during that episode. For anyone who doesn't know, during our sleeper episode, I said that he was a sleeper and he's currently being drafted in the 2nd round. And that is because I think he can finish in the top 3. I think it's that good. I think, especially in full point PPR, he's going to catch 70 balls. Like, I think it's going to be that good. Easily rush for another 1,000, and he's their goal line guy right now. I'm not worried about Mike Davis.
Deuce Vaughn.
And that's the thing, though. I'm not worried about Deuce Vaughn because he's like 3 foot nothing.
Ronald Jones.
And Ronald Jones is like their 4th. I'll bet he gets cut.
Hey, you know who was 3 foot nothing was Darren Sproles, and I think he had a nice year.
He
career.
sure did, and he wasn't the goal line back. That's my point. I think, here's another bucket. Over 12 total touchdowns for Tony Pollard.
Oh my gosh. You know how many buckets you get for Tony Pollard?
I'm loving Tony Pollard this year. I have him very high. I had him 4th. I'm taking him over Bijan. I'm taking over Derrick Henry. I'm taking over Nick Chubb and Jonathan Taylor right now. Not Jonathan Taylor.
Whoa.
So I had him at 5.
You're taking him over Derrick Henry?
Correct.
And Nick Chubb?
Correct.
Well, that's just wrong, but...
I love
I had
Tony
him
Pollard.
I had him at like 10, so that's why he sits here.
That's why he's right in the middle.
At 8. Yep.
Yeah. Adam, tell me why I'm right.
Tell you why you're right? I disagree with you. I think your love for him is
clouded your judgment.
Yeah, you're like a Sith Lord here. I mean, dealing in absolutes. He's either great
Duel
or
of Fates.
Terrible.
Yeah. 1 or 0, yeah.
Yes. I think he's going to be fine. Going to have a good year. I do think, Jake, you're right. He can be electric. But, again, I kind of like with Jalen Hurts. I just got to see it back-to-back years before I believe it.
Okay, well, we'll see. Listen, I'm saying all these things. I really do think he's going to finish. He can finish in the top 5. I think if you don't agree with me, which is fine, right? That's the fun of it, right? I think he's easily in the top 10. I think that is something we all can agree on, and he should be there barring any sort of injury.
He's getting drafted in the 2nd round, and rightly so.
Yeah, it's great.
If you catch him in the 3rd, you take him 10 times.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Josh Jacobs at 9. And the reason he's lower than Jonathan Taylor on all this is because I'm feeling very good about the fact that he might not play week 1. Like, I really feel like that.
He is definitely away from the team for contract reasons.
He's mad.
He is. I don't even think he's in Vegas. He is just.
Last year's
I like him if he plays.
I like him if he plays. Last year's rushing champ. In the previous years, we hadn't really seen that out of him, so it'll be interesting to see if he can do that again. I don't know. He makes me nervous. He makes me very nervous. And yes, I mean, are you taking Josh Jacobs or Tony Pollard, Adam?
Tony Pollard.
Yeah. Jordan?
Tony Pollard.
Yeah. Okay. Love Tony Pollard. Anyways, Josh Jacobs makes us nervous. I think that if he reports tomorrow, he'll go up these rankings, up the draft board. But I do not foresee that happening. I think this will go all the way up to the first week. And then at number 10, we got Najee Harris. What are your guys' opinions on Najee? What do you guys think? In their first preseason game, Jalen Warren got a solid amount of carries with that first team offense, even with Najee playing. So I think Warren might have a role in this offense.
I think that's why I have him at 10.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he should be higher if he was like the guy, but he doesn't seem like he's that this year.
Right. I just think they're holding him back for a reason. I think Mike Tomlin's a smart coach. He's always one of those guys, like you said, he can be elite. He can be a top 10 back, no problem. He's a big physical dude, but I don't know. I just haven't seen it yet. Like the it.
Yeah, you're waiting for
that
him.
talks about.
You're waiting for him to just take that next step. Just do it,
Yes.
And he just hasn't done it. Yeah, shameless plug. And he just hasn't done it yet, right?
Right.
So is this year? I think he's really tied to Kenny Pickett. If Kenny Pickett takes a leap or a step up like we're expecting this year, then I think we could see a really good year where Najee outperforms rank number 10 on our list.
Yes.
He finished 12 last year, running back 12. Feels like 10 is like his best in mind, and
You
that's
think so?
good.
I think he could finish higher than 10.
So, I like him at 10.
All right, so there we got halfway. We got Christian McCaffrey, Austin Eckler, Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor, Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry, Bijan, Tony Pollard, Josh Jacobs, and Najee Harris. So let's go through these next 5 pretty quick here, boys. So Ramondre Stevenson at 11, we were high on him. We really like him. When we make these rankings, I think Jordan and I definitely have some love for Ramondre. And then we made the rankings, and then Zeke signed. So would that change your ranking here at all? You still keeping him at 11?
I could push him to 12 or 13. I still like him. I think the goal line stuff, it's like, that's a bummer. But I still think it's Ramondre Stevenson's show. I think about what Zeke was in Dallas, and they were trying to feed him.
Yeah.
And he was not doing well. Tony Pollard had an excellent year last year, and they were trying to use Zeke. So I feel like, Zeke's best years are behind him. He still has value to the football team. He does not have fantasy value. So that's why I still like Ramondre Stevenson. You could convince me now that Zeke signed that he should be lower on this list, but only 12, 13. 14 is the lowest. I wouldn't go lower than 14.
Word on the street is that Belichick has loved Zeke ever since he's been in the league, and could find a major role for him. That's what I've heard. But
Bill, best eye for offensive talent.
I don't
I know, right?
Please don't make me talk about Bill Belichick again.
Yeah, we won't. But I like Stevenson a lot. But I do think with Zeke there, it does hurt his value a little bit.
Yep. Full point PPR, I think he's a top 10 back. He led the team in receptions last year. So, in receiving last year. So, next guy, Joe Mixon. We have him at 12. If you get him as the 12th running back, I think that's really good value. He's finished. He's being drafted as something like running back 15, something like that right now. He's been top 10 the last 4 years. So why would that be any different this year?
Right.
For me, making these rankings, I feel like he's a top 10 back, and I just couldn't find a spot for him in the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
and maybe that's just the age factor or something like that. But love Joe Mixon. I think the upside's top 10 easily. I think the floor is this at 12, right?
Yeah.
So give me Joe Mixon. I think he's really good value where he's currently being drafted. It'll be interesting to see if it goes up at all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like
so
him.
much.
Nope.
Yeah, there's so much question about like the off-season drama.
Yeah.
Oh, is he going to get suspended? Maybe he'll get cut. Da da da. And so I kind of pushed him down. And then he reworked his deal, found not guilty, so no suspension. There's no reason to think he's not going to be what he was
Agreed.
last year, which was actually running back 12.
See, look at that.
So perfect.
Jordan, you love this next guy. Why don't you talk about him?
Oh, Travis Etienne. I love him so. But Jake was telling me that he's not getting all the first team looks or not third down looks.
Yeah, so I don't know if you want to look into too much on the first preseason game, right? They all played. The whole offense played. And he played the majority of the running plays, right? The first and second down. They had three third downs, and they took him out for each one of them. They put in Hastings for one, who made a catch, and then Tank Bigsby, who, if you are in a deeper league or a dynasty league, is a name that people are really talking about. They really, really think that he will be able to have some sort of role in this offense. But I don't know about Travis. I think I had him at 14, so I had him another spot down. But
here's what I love about Travis Etienne. Last year he had 1,200 rush yards basically and 300 receiving yards. Excuse me. He had 5 total touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll have more. He had no receiving touchdowns.
Really,
that just doesn't seem realistic.
It doesn't,
I think
no.
touchdowns take a tick up, and he finishes running back 15 last year.
how many receptions
That's
did he
kinda
have?
35.
Yeah, I mean, he's just one of those guys where you're like, I want to see him at least hitting 50.
Yeah.
If he's hitting 50, 55, I think we're talking top 10. Like, he could take a massive leap. He's one of those guys where he's at right now, I think, is where he deserves to be. But if he all of a sudden starts catching balls, we could be talking, like, he could be a massive leap for next year.
I think he definitely. I think I'll book it over 50 receptions.
Oh, cool.
For
Wow,
sure.
15 more. Cool.
For sure.
One more a
Talking about
game.
15 more.
All right, book it.
But you want me
That's
to
fine.
book something crazy?
I want you to book something fun, but whatever.
I
I
just
won't
don't-
even book it then. I won't even book
Don't
it. He'll just
put it down. You already said it. You can't backsies.
Jeez. Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't believe that he'll have another year where they don't throw him the ball more. I mean, I agree
Why?
with Jordan.
I guess that's my question. Why? They have better receivers now. Like,
Yeah,
why,
but why not? Why not? So those guys are getting covered all over the place. Or double teams. Like dump it off to ETN.
it's going to be a good offense. It's going to be a really good offense. In fact, Jordan's going to book Trevor Lawrence for MVP.
Oh, he'll get MVP vote.
One
I'll book
MVP
that.
vote? Oh, no,
He will get
book
MVP
the win.
votes. That he will be the MVP?
Over or under 10 votes. How about that?
Because they do first, second, third now. So like 10 points or whatever
Yep.
it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, over 10 points.
Okay, that's fun. All right, let's talk about our hometown Green Bay Packers. Aaron Jones at 14. Allow me, because Jordan's typing and Adam doesn't love the Packers. I love Aaron Jones. He is just a baller, right? I think this is so tied, though, to Jordan Love. If Jordan Love is booty, they are going to stack the box, and it's going to be very hard for him to run.
Yeah.
If Jordan Love is able to be elusive, throw the ball down the field, I think that Aaron Jones could be in line for a lot of carries. And, I'm not a big believer in A.J. Dillon, but but I think Aaron Jones, 14, I think he could finish higher. I think 14 is where he deserves to be and where he might finish, though. Because he's always good for getting hurt a game or two.
Yeah. Soft tissue injuries.
Gosh, every
Always
time,
coming
man.
back.
And don't forget, AJ Dillon, big part of that offense. So
No, he's not. I can't stand A.J. Dillon. I think he'd be really good on a different team.
did you not say though that Aaron Jones will get a few big carries and then it's like 1st and 7 from the 7 and out trots AJ Dillon, baby.
It's so frustrating. It's so
There it
frustrating.
is.
Or like
There it is.
or like Aaron Jones will just be killing it, and then all of a sudden, they'll get stuck on a third down, they'll have to punt, and they'll immediately get the ball back, and then it's just Aaron Jones or it's AJ Dillon for a series, and I'm like, come on. And that's not what you want in fantasy, and that's why he's reflected a little lower, because he shares the ball along with the guy who we have next, Jahmyr Gibbs, who's going to be sharing the ball with David Montgomery. One of you want to talk about
I just gotta say, man,
Yeah.
you guys hated on one of my boys, and I just can't believe we have another rookie unproven ahead of my boy. But we'll get there when I get there.
Who's your boy?
Ken Walker.
We're going to get there. Everything out of camp says that Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be very, very in part of this offense. I think we could see a lot of catches from him. A lot of catches. I also think David Montgomery is going to be, it's a 1A, 1B thing. I think you could see David Montgomery being the 1A to start, but then by, week 8, it's flipped.
How many catches, Jake?
Why do I have to? I'm the one booking it. You book something, Jordan. You tell me how many catches.
You said he's going to get a lot
Jordan.
of catches.
I think he's over 60.
Over 60. Care to book it, Jake?
Oh, God. Would you care to not book it, Jordan? Do you want to take that under?
Yeah, I'll take the under.
All right, book it. There you go. Listen, if he's a part of this offense the way we think he's going to be, he is going to be a stud, especially in PPR leagues. Being the pass catching guy, I think next year's the year he will really take off. Is my guess. Whether or not they get out from David Montgomery or whatever that looks like. Everyone's talking up the Lions, but we'll see. That's kind of my thought on them. We'll see. I think they could easily win this division. I also think that they could finish with 7 wins. So
they could finish last because they're the Lions.
Yeah.
It's like people saying the Browns are going to be in the top of the division.
That's the best division in football, may I just say.
The NFC North? I'm just kidding.
No, the
I
AFC
was
North.
like,
The
oh
AFC
my
North.
lord. That's not true either, though.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Versus what?
It's
I
the
swear to
AFC West.
God, if you
Yeah.
say
Either
the
the
AFC West.
AFC East or AFC West,
No.
man.
Boo.
No.
All right.
Top,
Moving along.
no. I have to do it. Top to bottom, the AFC North is better. Their worst team is the Browns, who could make the playoffs. The Raiders are not making the playoffs. Who knows what the heck's going on with Denver? And we all know the Patriots suck. So, point, set, match, boom, goes the dynamite. Next up, we got Breece Hall. Jordan, talk about him.
Breece Hall was electric as a rookie.
Mhm.
When he played,
He was rookie of the year.
And we were like, this is out of this world. And then he got hurt, and that stinks. Now Dalvin Cook is there, and that stinks. But Breece Hall will be ready week 1. So says Bob Saleh as of just a couple of days ago. I still like him. I still think that he's the one, but I do think Dalvin Cook just eats a lot of that. I would feel very differently about his ranking. I was like, RB1 upside potential. Now I don't feel that way. Now I think, the best he could do is high end running back 2.
And who knows how he's going to come back from his
Exactly.
injury. I mean, it's just...
Yeah, I was the most down on I have Dalvin Cook higher. So I had him at 19, and then I had Hall at 20. Mainly because I don't know for sure which one's going to be. Dalvin Cook's better right now. That's my thought.
Mm-hmm.
He's just better. He's not coming off an ACL. There's no reason to rush Hall back. Like, this is a win now move. You have Aaron Rodgers for 2 years. Get Dalvin Cook. Win now. Don't rush Breece Hall, who's going to be good for the next 8 years, right? My thought. So, I if I'm drafting a New York Jet running back, I'm taking Dalvin Cook. You don't send $8.5 million to have him be the backup to Breece Hall.
Correct.
I guess, but they did it with David Montgomery
and he's not going to be the backup to Jahmyr Gibbs. This is my thought. They are going to be very 1A, 1B on the Lions, and I think we could see that as well from year 2. But I think Dalvin Cook's the one to own versus Breece Hall. This is the worst case scenario for Breece Hall owners if you draft it early.
Oh my gosh, totally.
Just brutal.
Yeah,
just brutal.
Yeah.
At 17, we got Miles Sanders. I am going
Allow
to be.
me.
Yeah, I'm gonna be quiet.
Allow me. No, I've been sitting here. You guys are taking all the backs. I would like to talk about my boy, Miles Sanders, who I believed in since day one of the pod. Okay? I don't think you get to talk about him, Jake.
Okay.
So Miles Sanders in Carolina, having he's got that groin issue now. I truly think that he could surpass Jameer Gibbs. He could surpass Aaron
How
Jones.
high?
I'm,
We
I'm
have him
thinking,
ranked at 17.
I know, and I'm thinking he's better than Gibbs and Jones in the long run, in my rankings. So I just think that Sanders gonna have a great year again. New change of scenery, a team that believes in him, and he's gonna be needed if he's healthy with the new quarterback in Bryce Young. So
If he's healthy.
yes, if he's healthy,
That's my point. Like, I love Miles Sanders this year. I've talked about it. I mean, he's one of the few 3-down backs that we have in the league, and
Yep.
especially one you're getting later on here. Like, none of these guys we're talking about have 3-down back every series, right? I mean, everyone else has some sort of backup that's coming in, and I was all about it, and then he's missing preseason. Now, is this because they are being cautious because they know he has a history of this sort of thing, or is it just more of the same?
yeah.
And I just picked the wrong year to be upset with him. You know?
It's looking like it's going to be that, Jake.
Yeah, I mean, this is new. If we were to redo these rankings right this second, I think I'd push him down past 2 of the 3 guys that we have up. But I mean, I love that you love him. If you Adam, I mean, you feel this way about him right now, knowing he's going to miss the preseason, you would just be getting great value then, right?
Yeah. No.
Or Jordan, what do you think?
Yeah, this is the right spot for him.
Okay.
Low end RB2. I like that.
That's what the people love. This sort of agreeing banter. That's great. Yeah.
We
Okay.
ranked him well. That's all I'm saying.
We did a good job, guys. Good job.
Yeah.
All right, and Adam, why don't you again talk about your boy, Ken Walker at 18?
Just a travesty. Travesty.
Where are
that
you putting
Jahmyr
him?
Gibbs.
Where are you putting him?
I'm putting him ahead of Brees Hall and Jameer Gibbs.
Well,
I
yeah,
think he's
I guess.
He proved it last year. I mean, yeah, it's 1 year, so I've kind of my big shtick this year has been show it to me twice. He's got to do that. I don't think he's top 10, but if he finishes top 10, is it a shock? I'm not shocked. And I don't think that one guy they drafted, the French sounding name Charbonnet.
Zach Charbonnet.
I don't think he's going to be as good as people think either. And I just, he's going to be a good compliment. But I think Ken Walker, what I book about him, over 10 touchdowns?
Let's see here.
You did something like that. I think I disagree with you about the Zach Charbonnet take. You don't draft someone in the second round and then not play him. I mean, I think we're talking like 70-30. Which is, I mean, at running back 18 is not bad, right?
No.
But 70-30 makes me a little nervous. So, I mean,
Adam,
yeah.
I do not have a book for you.
Do it.
Fantastic.
Adam.
I would like to book something now.
Okay.
I would like to say that he has at least 10 touchdowns and over 1,000 yards.
I love
if
it.
he stays healthy.
Of course, it's always health. Yeah, I will agree with you though when you say, would you be shocked if he finished in the top 10? I would not. We have Najee Harris at 10. I wouldn't be shocked if they ended up flipping. Yeah,
Right.
Maybe that Steelers offense just takes a nosedive, right? And
Yep.
Walker goes off. It wouldn't be shocking to me. I think Walker has the upside here. He's a guy that has the upside that could finish top 10. I just think his floor could be pretty low.
I think that's the thing with these running backs, like, because they're getting carries and receptions and they're so touchdown dependent, the swing between these, like, each season, I mean, even looking back, with the exception of Derrick Henry and Nick Chubb, it is, like,
Everyone
entirely
goes
new
around,
top
yeah.
10s every single year, right? Like, there's just so much that gets changed, and I think they're so dependent on, like, the scheme and, like, what the offense is running. So when offensive coordinators switch out, like, totally changes, like, the landscape of what these running backs do. So I think you're right. If any of these guys ended up moving into the top 10 or any of them fell out of the top 10, I'd be like,
Yeah.
It's not what I thought, but I'm not surprised.
All right, 1 minute, Jordan, on Cam Akers at 19. Go.
He's another one of those guys that he's just the running back.
Yeah.
There isn't a lot of depth behind him. There isn't a lot of depth in general on the Rams. So, outside of Cooper Kupp, who is the offense, and Cam Akers is kind of the next man up as far as like getting any sort of progress on the offense, which is what I like about him, is that he is sort of that 3-down back. He's there. If he's not punching Max Crosby in practice. But that's what I like about him. I'm assuming the Rams improve from where they were last year. They're not Super Bowl contenders, but I think things get better for him. They were like tragically, their whole offensive line was hurt.
Yeah. He's a guy, though, that has been known to disappear, and I think that's why he's ranked this low. Yep. Adam, why don't you finish out 20, Dameon Pierce. What do you think?
Fine. It's a fine ranking for him.
Dude, that's my thought. He's fine.
Yeah.
He's fine.
I mean, if he finishes closer to 15, good. You get good value where you draft them. And, again, that's what we're all about here with these rankings. Again, not necessarily where we think guys are going to finish. But, again, he's fine. Going to be a lot on his shoulders, though, if C.J. Stroud looks as bad as he did in that first preseason game.
This is a bad offense. He's the best running back on a bad offense. He was a darling last year, if you guys remember. Came out of nowhere, killed my Marlon Mack take, and he definitely started off really, really hot, and then he kind of just plateaued and he kind of went down towards the end of the year. I believe he got hurt off the top of my head, but he's just fine. Is my kind of thought. I don't think he's finished in top 10. The ceiling's 15. The floor is 22. He's just fine. So all right, so let's go over it one more time. We got CMC, Austin Eckler, Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor, Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry, Bijan Robinson, Tony Pollard, Josh Jacobs, Najee Harris. That's our top 10. And then our 11 through 20 is Ramondre Stevenson, Joe Mixon, Travis Etienne, Aaron Jones, Jahmyr Gibbs, Breece Hall, Miles Sanders, Ken Walker III, Cam Akers, and Dameon Pierce. So there you go, guys. We're going to post that on our Facebook page and on our Instagram, next_step pod, Facebook, Next Step Fantasy Football Podcast. People in the chat, we appreciate you guys hanging around. We're live on YouTube, youtube.com/the Next Step Fantasy Football Podcast. We have a Patreon if you guys want to help us out monetarily there. No pressure, but we are running a promo in August. $5 to get the first 4 weeks of our weekly rankings, which is typically reserved for our $10 Patreons members for free. So, next week we'll be back. We'll be doing the wide receivers, and then it'll be close to football. So only 2 more episodes until actual football time.
Oh, boy.
That's it.
Boys, unless either of you have something you want to say.
No, Tiger.
I know Adam does.
Listen, baby. Hey, like River Falls football. We're coming at you, all the people who have doubted us, and again, we're coming back, and we're gonna do some fun things starting tomorrow against Sparta, baby.
Awesome! And if you're listening to this on Friday tomorrow, we'll be posting the link on the Facebook page. Come watch Adam coach. Watch Adam coach. And there
you go.
So yeah, all right. Good luck, Adam. You're gonna kill it tomorrow, and we are surely behind you. The whole community's behind you.